Welcome to Long Story Long. I'm your host, Lisa Curry. Today's guest is the incredibly talented Jackie Tohn. You may know Jackie from American Idol. She played Melrose on Glow. She's been on Howard Stern. She's been on everything, and most importantly, she has her own animated show coming out on Amazon this fall called Do Re Mi, and you should absolutely check that out. But first, I think you're really going to love this conversation. Here you go.
Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Hi, Lisa. How are you doing? I got to take one ear out.
Thanks.
Oh, there we go. Because I can't do both ears.
Yeah.
I got to be able to hear myself through my own.
Too much.
Yeah. I need mouth to ear. I can't do mouth to headphone. Does that make sense? Like my own
Sure.
mouth, I need to hear it back in.
Yeah, I get that. Because I have headphones on and I can hear my voice, but it sounds more nasally and muffled, and it's very annoying.
I mean, if you think on this call you're going to be able to claim nasal voice, you're going to be on a call with me and you're going to call nasal voice. I don't think it's going to, yeah.
Okay. All right, fair.
Thank you.
It's so nice to see you. I haven't
so nice to
seen
see
you
you
in a while.
Hi, buddy.
Hey. I was realizing as I was getting ready for this, I'm like, there's a lot I just don't know about you.
Even though we took a pilot wriing class together 7 years ago.
100 years ago. Yeah, that was...
Could have been a decade. Could have been
another lifetime.
No, it was 23rd. I mean, no one cares, so cut this out. But 20... I hate when I'm listening to a podcast and someone's trying to think of a year. I'm like, hey, no one fucking cares, Barry. Don't think of your year.
Sure.
But it matters to me right now with you. I actually interpersonally want to think of that.
Yeah.
But as a listener, I would have shut it by now.
I would guess 2013 if we're just grabbing numbers
All
out
right,
of the sky.
let's just do it.
Okay.
Let's just go with it.
We're settling on that. So where did
Never,
you grow
Lisa,
up in
never
Southern
settle.
California?
Never settle. No, did I grow up in Southern California? Do I have the voice of a person who grew up in Southern California?
You don't. I think I just kind of assumed because I was like, well, I know you were a child actor. So I'm like, well, obviously you were here.
Yeah,
right?
had to be one of two places. Yeah, so fair. I was in New York.
Okay,
I was
that makes
in
sense
New
as well.
York.
I forget about that.
Right. Yep. I was a New York kid actor since I was... I realized that for many years I was saying, well, I've been acting since I'm 9. And then finally someone was like, since you're...
So you got in the game late.
But so, yeah. I waited way too long, past my expiration. But people were like, finally someone was like, since you're 9 or since you were 9? And I was like, okay, grammar police. But I had been saying it wrong all that time, but also knowingly saying it wrong. Is that making sense?
Also, who cares?
I mean, nobody, but it was more just that, it felt cute to be like, yeah, I've been acting since I'm 9. It was more of a way to say, no one cares. Now I've given the audience 2 reasons to tune out. The year think, the waiting 5 minutes to figure out 2020, and now the since I'm 9 story.
Like by you
oh yeah, let's only talk about weather for the next. It's gorgeous. Look.
Yeah, I love it. I'm really jealous. It's very humid here.
Oh, it's gorgeous here. I mean, honestly, it's
nice.
It's gorgeous here every day. But yes, I grew up in New York and acting since I'm 9.
Did you, and that was it your parents getting you into it?
No.
Or was this something where you were like, dear God, I need somewhere to put this energy?
That, but also it was, dear God, I need somewhere to put this energy, but also... It wasn't like, where do I put it? I knew where to put it. I knew putting it into a potential, I knew putting it in an attempt at TV stardom was where to put it. Ever since I was a baby. Really young, I wanted to be.
Since your mother was crowning with you.
That's correct. I was coming out. And that's how they got Michigan J. Frog. I came out with the top hat and the cane and I was like, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Right as I came out.
I love it.
They were like, is she crying or singing? And everyone was like, jury's out. Yeah.
So when you were doing it when you were a kid, did it feel exciting or did it feel as demoralizing as it does
for us now?
For most people.
It's a hard question because it formed who I am. And only much later in life and through therapy do I realize that so much of my value is wrapped up in my career and how I feel about myself is based on how talented other people think I am.
Yeah.
And that's common for entertainers, but child entertainers even more so, because I learned it in my impressionable years. When actors are figuring it out in college and in their 20s, it's like, yeah, that's hard and that can be challenging. But for me, it was truly ego and identity forming.
I would it's like in your bones.
I would go into a room and like when you talk about people feeling like they're too much and like I was having very powerful people in the entertainment business tell that to my agent when I was 10.
No.
Yeah. So like there was like some crazy, you know, like I remember, and I do stand up about it now, but when I was a kid, like my agent got this feedback once that like I suck all the air out of the room. But what was interesting about that is that, or not interesting, but I mean, every single thing I say is long story long. So it's funny that, that this pod is called. And you're like, if we don't get to something long story long by half hour, like I do, it's all long story long. That's how I don't speak in sound bites. But anyway.
I'm the same way.
All of most comics, but all of that, except Mitch Hedberg, very sound bitey. All of that to say is the other people that would meet me were like, oh my God, this kid's a star. We got to give her a development deal. We got to throw money at this and make it a show. But then other people were like, "Oh God, that's an awful lot for a child to be bringing to the table." But
sure,
it was weird. So on the one hand, I was getting like super support and encouragement, and on the other, I was hearing that it was like, "Calm down, slow down, less. Jesus, why? What is the ambush?" And on the other end, it was like, my God, this kid has this personality and this energy and this comedy. And like, I don't know where comedy chops come from at 10, but they had them.
That's great. Do you remember the first job you booked?
Oh, yeah. You know Bill Dixon?
I do.
Yeah. He once said to me, because I talked about being like a really funny kid and getting development deals and having, doing comedy. I did comedy. I did stand up as a teenager. And he was like, what happened to you as a kid that you were able to be so funny young? Like something happened. And I'm like, I don't think anything happened. And he was like, might want to look into something happened. You're not funny. You don't have like observational comedy skills at 10 if something's not going on. Like nothing necessarily grave, but I've been like literally since he said that, he's not a fucking shrink, but he's like a super close friend. And like,
sure.
I still am going like, yeah, that is odd.
Yeah.
Like why? I still don't know why though. But I just think it's because my mom is sick funny.
Oh yeah, are both of your parents, or is it?
Yeah, they're both really funny. My dad's very musical, so I get that from him. And my mom is like, but my mom's funny like Joan Rivers funny. Like she's not
like really quippy.
Oh, beyond, and just jokes and my whole life.
Are your parents in entertainment as well then?
No, not remotely.
Just like,
but I got into acting because my funny ass motherfuckers. Because my mom's friend was an agent in Baldwin, Long Island, where I grew up in this small town. New York small town is different than country small town. It's not like we're on a farm with a cow. Like it was small town New York, so it was like still shit was going on. And a 40-minute train ride to the city. So there was always opportunity for auditions and stuff. What was the question you just asked? Do either of us remember?
No, I don't remember. I was asking if your parents were in entertainment.
No, before that.
Telling me, yeah, I've completely forgot. I was following your story. I was imagining this train ride, and I got lost in the visual of
Joan Rivers. But before that, the first job I got.
Yes, booking your first job.
So I think one of the first ones was I did a Rice Krispies commercial that I got cut out of.
No.
Yeah, and I was like 11.
So this is like, well, did you still get paid for it? Is that a gross question? Oh, no.
No, it's a fabulous question, and it's absolutely the one that you should ask as a fellow actor, writer, comedian. It's like, well, I want to know the details. It's awful.
That's so
I'd been trying out for commercials for like for a couple of years at that point, and I finally got one. And I mean, if you think I was real New York back then, and I would like go on auditions in a leather jacket.
So you're smoking a cigarette, yeah?
I mean, literally, I went on auditions in a leather jacket. I was 11 years old, a motorcycle jacket, and I just was like a real character, and I unbelievable. I looked like I smoked cigarettes for sure, and I got this commercial. I was so excited, and then it finally aired, and there was like little vignettes of like kids at school, like eating Rice Krispies, and I just wasn't in it. And then I had to like pretend I wasn't devastated because my parents were so bummed and I was so bummed. Yeah. And then I had to like, they didn't put on me that I had to take care of them at all. But like, that's your instinct, is to be like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't care. I'll get the next one. I don't care. but you're like gutted and crying in your room.
Of course. I mean, well,
and you're
I
11.
assume by then you've already told all of your friends.
Forget. I mean, you don't even. But what's funny is now I don't tell anyone anything. And then people see me and things and they go like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, because I don't post about anything, talk about anything. I mean, I have 30 years of experience, more than 30 years of experience of getting really, really excited about something and then finding out I'm not in it. Or I got my first series when I was 23. It was called Regular Joe. It was on ABC. It was a mid-season replacement, and they had fired the whole cast from the pilot, and then they were redoing it, and it was getting picked up straight to 6 episodes. And it was my first series, and I was in my early 20s, and I went back to New York, and my whole family had a party, and it was like the biggest deal ever. My parents came out to the taping, and on a Monday we had rehearsal. Monday we had a table read. Tuesday we had a rehearsal on the set. Wednesday there was like this big press junket to announce the show. There was this big ABC red carpet. It was my first one. It was so cool. And then Thursday my parents came out because Friday was going to be the live taping, and they were in the car. We drove onto the lot at CBS Radford, and I was going to drop them off at my dressing room, which was so cool. It was decorated with all my things and my candle and my rug and my first dressing room and my name. And when my parents and I pulled up to the lot, I didn't know why the producers wanted to meet with me. But when I pulled up to drop my parents off at my dressing room.
But you're thinking like, oh, they want to meet with me because something fabulous has transpired.
Well, like not even, but just like, talk about the show, figure something out. Like I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, it's amazing. I just was like, they want to meet me. Definitely didn't think it was like dire. And even though none of the producers were at the press junket, and that was really weird, and the energy was a little weird, and I didn't know really what was going on. Anyway, my parents are in the car, and we show up. I'm about to pull into my spot to drop them off at my dressing room, and there's a man paint rolling my name off my parking space.
No.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
That feels like a nightmare you have, and it's too.
Also, I could never write it
on the nose.
Yeah, I could never write it into a movie because people would be like, I don't even feel bad because that's so fake. That since that would so never happen to a person because of how dehumanizing, demoralizing, how awful the people would have to be to even have hired the man before the production told me. That man was there with a paint roller, a long one.
It's not like
a long one, like a one like on a broomstick.
Yeah, he has to be called in.
Yeah, he's like a handyman for the lot.
Estimates from people or whatever. There's
he's the handyman that works on the lot. And instead of saying like, hey, Ralph, come on Friday, they said, no, just come Thursday morning before we tell the actor that she's been terminated and that her dreams are crushed with her parents in the car.
They're like, could you time it actually so that they see
Can you imagine? What would be the...
Horrifying.
Even if I had pulled up and he had done it that morning and my name had been paint rolled off, I probably wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together. I would have just been like, oh, that's weird. Like, our show finishes tomorrow. We don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know. Could have been anything.
Yeah.
But no.
God, oh, that must have been like, that also, it breaks my heart for you, but it also breaks my heart for your parents to have to watch you go through that. I mean, that's so awful.
It's heartbreaking. It is truly wild. And then, and this is a funny business. You have to get up and, do it again the next day because
you have to dust
the next time
and keep going.
Because what are you going to do? Not try and get another job now?
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. At this point, you're so invested. Fuck. Wait, so what did you do after that? What was the next break for you after that?
Oh, Glow.
Wait.
13 years later.
Whoa. It's so crazy because I'm like, I don't even...
Oh, God. Is anyone going to want to listen to this? It's so dark. But it's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you like...
I mean, yeah, but you... I mean, I'm sure I feel other people watching you feel that Glow is very long overdue for you. Because
thanks.
You've been so talented for so long and just been knocking it out of the park. And so it feels like, what the fuck? Like when you got Glow, I was like, I felt as happy as if I had booked something because I was like, fucking good.
Thanks, man.
It's about time.
I have to say one of the best absolutely best things about getting Glow, other than it being life-changing and being the fucking awesomest job ever, and it being lady run and lady written and directed and starring, and the girl community I became part of for the first time in my life, because instead of it being like this weird competition where there's only space for one girl and we're sort of like silently against each other, even though we support each other, we're all going out on the same things. And since shows were mostly written by men and there was only a spot for one girl and she was generally hot and almost never funny, there was, this sort of unspoken or spoken competition of like, fuck, there's just not enough opportunity for us.
Yeah.
Anyways, other than how amazing all of that was with Glow, was the fact that people were coming out of the woodwork and being like, I fucking see you, homie. I am as happy for you as I would have been for myself.
Yeah.
Like, so many people were like, I've just watched you hustle not at the expense of the rest of your life, but like sort of, I've just been eye on the prize comedy TV career lady forever. I was never anything else.
You were hustling nonstop, and also, and this is, I don't know you very well, but from my point of view, it's like always with enthusiasm and you're always doing your best. And it's never like some people take a couple of hits and then they just want to cut everyone else down.
Oh, for sure.
And, I feel like you didn't play into that at all. And you just kept doing your own thing.
I talked about this I did Ron Funch's podcast a month or so ago. And I was talking about this, like, your perseverance is such a hot look after you succeed.
Yeah. Yes.
But so not as hot when you're just struggling and 35 and everyone's like, I was just talking to one of my best friends who's a brilliant writer director, and he had a therapist that was like, yeah, I think it's time to mourn what you thought this was gonna be.
Oof.
You're almost 40, right? You're in your late 30s. This is a therapist.
No.
You tried. You gave it your all. I'm not saying you're not brilliantly talented, but what else is there? Maybe it's time to...
It also depends on like what else you want. Because for me, and it seems for you as well, like, I'm like, I only want this. It's not like I'm sitting here thinking, well, shit, I'm going to give it another 6 months and then I'm going to be an accountant. I'm like, I'm going to give it another 6 months and then I'm not going to try to sell this pilot and I'm going to work on a different one. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And I know a lot of people who did do that, who were like, okay, if I don't make it by 28, I'm going to do real estate. If I don't, like,
No.
people do put like a timeline on it. And listen, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this isn't for everyone. I mean, this game is definitely not for the faint of heart. The amount of, like, I can sort of like laugh at my name being, I'll never laugh at my name being paint-rolled off a parking space, but I do a little bit now. Like, I do, like, obviously that's, it's absurd.
Yeah. Did you ever, like, were you ever kind of able to, obviously you were, I want to say newer, just in the sense of, like, I think as you go along in this business, we're able to speak up and advocate for ourselves a little bit more. Were you ever able to kind of, like, make peace with the people who did that to you? That's
a great question. Well, when they called me into their office and fired me, I was kind of like, I said, because what happened was there was like 10 people in the pilot and they all got fired except Daniel Stern. He played the dad, one of the bad guys from Home Alone. He's the best.
Yeah.
And then they fired the girl who was the daughter, and they hired me. And when they fired me, when I was testing for the role, she was there testing. She flew herself from New York to try to continue to keep her own role that she was being fired from.
Ooh, that's really hard.
That's what this business is. They were like, her name is Kelly Carbosh. She was on Orange. So we both ended up on Jenji Kohan shows.
Oh, I love it.
And she's amazing. But so Kelly, we still laugh about this. Like, we would run into each other at Netflix parties and be like, bitch, look at us. What? Hi. Hi. Remember 15, 18 years ago when we were So, and she was so cool. And so we saw each other in the waiting room and we talked about it. And she was like, yeah, I actually did the pilot. And like, now I'm back out here testing. And I remember leaving thinking like, oh my God, poor girl. Like she has to see all these other girls up for a role she already fought for and already booked, then got fired from and is now refighting for.
Fuck.
And then I book it. And then she's like, well, okay. She goes back to New York. I get fired. She gets rehired.
What?
Kelly got rehired.
What is even going on?
What is even going on? But it's that level of them not knowing. So when I was in the office, when I was being fired, I was like, I just feel like such a casualty of you guys not knowing what you want. I was so young and I was saying that. Good. I was like, it just sucks that I'm such a casualty of you guys not knowing. And they were like, I said something and I was like, this is so fucked up. And some lady that I never even met was like, oh, you don't need to come in here and swear. And I was like, you don't need to tell me what to fucking come in here and do.
You're like, are you out of your fucking mind?
After you've just fired me. Yeah, correct. And then I left. Mm-hmm. And so did I ever get and I know those people's names and they're all very still successful, still big of producers, still.
That's also, it's just so inconsiderate because it's, I get when you're putting a project together, you're developing it, you're whatever. There's a lot of people's opinions that go into a thing. And so there's a lot of disagreements and tweaking and whatever, but there's also human beings involved.
No, that seems to never be considered. Yeah. Or the last thing considered when it's, or no, never considered. It's just like, listen, this is what this business is. This is what we need to do for the betterment of the project. And if you don't have thick skin, then this isn't the business for you because this is what it is, honey. This is what it is, honey. Yeah, it's fucked up, but it's also like, then Glow comes along and then my cooking show came along. And so I definitely don't want my whole... we are on Long Story Long, and I don't think it's going to be, it might not be as interesting to be like, no, there's wonderful things too, but I definitely don't. No, but I do feel like when I listened back to Funch's podcast, it really was a little bit like, oh God. Like, I definitely don't want to be, because I don't live my life in a sad, sacky way, like at all.
Well, and you've done so much cool shit also in the meantime, like,
but when people are like, yo, tell me a crazy story and what shit went down, I'm like, oh, I have some crazy stories. Oh, the Howard Stern stuff is the greatest ever. He's my idol.
Yeah. He's the fucking...
He's my king.
He's the man.
He's my king, bro. That's my guy.
I never met him. And that's such a great thing that you've been able to work with him and do all these other things that are super fulfilling. I love it. And it's also so great that you have stand-up because so many actors... don't have that, and then they're just kind of, in my imagination, they're sitting at home quietly, like just waiting for a good script.
Well, that's like, what I say. Damn. But also, like, waiting for a good script. I get a good script all the time. Do you think they're hiring me? Sometimes, sure, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
They should more often.
Well, you're a kind woman, but it's like, that's the thing, even about waiting for the phone to ring or getting a good script. It's not like... I don't know why Keira Knightley is always the celebrity that comes to my mind, but it's not like I'm Keira Knightley and things come across my desk and I'm sitting here and I get to pick and choose what I want to do. Like, it's all still, even if you have shows under your belt and, all this other stuff, it's still a rat race, of course. Yeah. And there's so many fucking talented people.
How did Glow come about?
An audition, a regular old audition. I had just played Gilda Radner, which was crazy.
Yes. Which is perfect.
The most incredible thing ever. So basically, I was struggling and I had started doing a ton. I started stand-up when I was 14. And then in my 20s, the short version of this story on Short Story Short is that I in my 20s was very focused on the men I was dating and not as much focusing on myself. And I just wonder if I was like maybe exhausted because by the time I was 22, I'd been acting for 13 years and had already, by 23, I'd gotten that series I told you about and then been fired. And I really dove head first into the men I was dating and, cultivating their talents and writing for them and helping and pushing. And I was doing my own thing too, but I wouldn't say I was flourishing.
You weren't your own central focus?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that sometimes, I don't know. It's hard to remember. a long time ago, and also so many specific different relationships and different scenarios and different job opportunities or lack thereof. But in my 20s, I wasn't really doing stand-up. And then in my 30s, I was again. I was like, oh, wait a minute. And that's sort of when I got out of my own way. And that's kind of when my career started happening, because I wasn't as much waiting for someone to give me an opportunity. Right. I could go out, and I got on the road. I had done American Idol in 2009. And so by 2010, 2011, I was touring. I had stamped all my promo shit with American Idol, and I was like on the road doing music, doing comedy, playing colleges.
Was your stand-up musical from the beginning?
Well, when I was doing colleges, I wasn't even doing stand-up. I was doing music. I was this contestant on American Idol. So I was like going to I put 3 albums out. I was like going and singing songs and doing covers, and had a looping thing or a kick drum pedal and a guitar. And I just was like Bert from Mary Poppins, everything with a fucking kick drum on my back, like honk, honk, just doing whatever the fuck I could. And it's just like always been some racket or another where I was like, gotta get out there, gotta entertain, gotta make money, pay the bills, and do something that feeds my soul. And so and then I got into stand-up, and then I started incorporating stand-up into my live set. Then I started incorporating musical comedy into my live set. And then I stopped doing straight up music and was pretty much only doing comedy and musical comedy.
Wow. Do you feel, though, that being... I don't want to say pushed in that direction, because it sounds like that's something that you really loved and really fulfilled you, the stand-up and musical stuff. Do you feel like having only that to focus on for a while, or having more time to focus on that, made you more dynamic overall as a performer?
Well, interesting question. And I'm going to pull a piece out of the middle that I didn't even think you meant to pinpoint. But focus on has never been a thing I've ever done ever. Focus on anything. So it's all been in the arsenal. I've always made music. I've always told jokes. I've always done improv. I've always been an actor. I've always just been doing all these things. And I remember back in the day, I met with a really big manager, I'll tell you after, and she wanted to rep me, and she didn't get along with my agent. So I would have had to leave my agent, which would have been fine because he was a fucking asshole anyway.
Sure.
But instead of going with her, which I unequivocally should have, I stayed with my agent. And then a couple years later, I parted with this agent, and I called her and I said, hey, I'm not with that agent anymore. I'd love to work together, or at least talk about it. And she was like, you know what? I've been thinking about you. And I don't know music, right? That's not what I do. I'm an actor's agent. I'm a comics agent. And it would be weird for me. I want to rep somebody 100% of their career. And because I don't understand 50% of what you're doing, I love that you do it, and I love that you have that in your back pocket. But because I don't deal in that space, work in that space, I don't feel like I'd be able to adequately represent you there.
Oh, wow.
And so she wouldn't represent me, because she was like, by that point, I was like doing a lot of music. And she was like, it doesn't make sense to me, because I want to rep you across the board. So this sort of well-rounded entertainer life that I've tried to cultivate has often bit me in the ass and not helped me.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, even that agent I was telling you about back in the day, anything I had to do, if I had to miss something, or if I had to reschedule an audition because of something musical, instead of being like, oh, okay, cool, you're a well-rounded entertainer, it was like, I don't know how much longer you think we're going to be like moving auditions around so you can go sing somewhere. Like, that's not... It was not celebrated that I was doing all of the things. It was definitely looked at. It was definitely looked at as like and I can't tell you how many times casting, everybody has been like, so what is it that you want to do? Do you want to be an actor, or do you want to be a musician? And it's like, oh, I don't.
You're like, I want to be where people are paying me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want to be where people are paying me, but like definitely both. And now the answer is, for me, much clearer. I mean, I want to be a TV star. Always. Yeah. I've always wanted to be. I've never really deviated from that. I've wanted to be the nanny since I was born, and that's the same now. And I want to keep making music, and I love making music. It's so funny, music.
Also, like, learning, for me, finding out that you were in The Nanny multiple times, because I used to watch that show all the time when I was growing up, and I'm like, oh, I saw you before I even knew you, and I didn't realize. I love it. When you auditioned for Glow, like, did you know right away? First of all, I didn't realize the timeline of, I knew you played Gilda in A Futile and Stupid Gesture, because it felt like it all happened at once. Like, it was like, oh, fuck, Jackie's just in everything now, which is, you know, amazing.
Stop
But
playing.
did you know, I guess when you auditioned for that, I'm assuming you were, like, feeling good because you had just played Gilda. Like, did you feel it? Like, were you like, I'm getting this fucking role?
Massively. No, I definitely didn't. I mean, I know this business too well to ever say I'm getting this fucking role, even to this day. But yes, the Gilda situation helped massively for a lot of reasons. First of all, like I was just telling you, doing stand-up, being on the road, having managers come up to me at shows and being like, yo, who reps you and what are you doing and like what is happening, and you know, me feeling like I was getting the entertainment business validation. I wasn't making money, I wasn't getting big jobs really yet, but I was like, something was happening. I was like gonna go do Montreal, and like people were like, oh, this like female musical comedian is happening, and there was like cool shit kind of bubbling. I was writing. I was like just stepping way more into myself than just being like, sure do hope I get an audition. And then just swallowing a ton. Silently, just lots of lip sounds, just alone in my house. So then I get this audition for Gilda, and it's Allison Jones, who's like the dream queen casting director of the universe, like one of the greatest of all time. And I, to this day, don't know how I got that Gilda audition. I think it was my agent. I was with a small company, and I think it was my agent, because it wasn't my sleeping ass manager, I'll tell you that. So, so my agent at the time was like the small company, and I think I got the audition, still don't know, went in. But I was so prepared for the Gilda audition because she's been my favorite since I was a kid. And when I started doing
playing her in my sleep.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I'd been doing those characters for no one for 20 years at a minimum, probably 30 years at that point. And so I had the Best of Gilda VHS. And like when I went in, and I knew it was for a David Wayne movie, who is obviously one of my comedy heroes. If he's not one of your comedy heroes, you're sleeping. Yeah. So I was just like, what is happening? This is too good to be true. And then when I started doing a little more research, just to like, I listened to her book, which was not the thing to do necessarily before comedy, just the saddest. Yeah, just the worst. And her trials and tribulations, obviously with ovarian cancer, but before that, with her relationship with Gene and wanting babies and being infertile, and all she ever wanted was a family, and gave up her career for. I mean, it's too much. And so I learned everything I could about her, and this is just before a fucking pre-read audition, like coming in real hot. Like, the way, and I've told this story kind of before, but there's something interesting about what I did on that audition could have been looked at as like real awesome or like really embarrassing and try hard.
Like too much.
Lisa, I had costume changes. I brought a guitar.
I love this.
No, Lisa, I did everything. I wore bell bottoms and a little tank top with no bra just to look like Gilda. I parted my hair in the middle. I like brushed it out. It was super wavy. I put it in these little clips. I looked just like her. Then when I was listening to stuff, I was like, why is it always so easy for me to do like the voices of her characters? And it's because we have similar speaking voices. Jewish, raspy, nasally. Hers is just more in the back of her throat because she's from Detroit. I'm Gilda Radner. But other than that, we have almost identical speaking voices. It's totally bizarre. Totally. It was like I was sort of listening to her talk, and then I would repeat it and go like, oh, that just sounds like that.
Do you think that's what drew you to her at a young age? Was the similarities?
I think she probably, but also just that she was like a wiry, wily, super funny, unafraid, unapologetic little Jewish girl. And I was all those things and wanted to be all those things. And there was a freedom in her, which now I obviously have learned much later, is her being inside her brain and body was a prison. But it looked like there was, in mine too, it looked like there was a freedom. And there was this, just men loved her and women wanted to be her. And she wasn't a classic beauty, but she just was, I have chills. I mean, just, she's the greatest, was the greatest. And so they said, you could prepare, the movie, Futile and Stupid Gesture, took place before her SNL days. And it goes through that, but it doesn't feature it in the movie. And so they were like, you're not going to need to do Emily Latella or Rosanna Dana or Lisa Lubner or all these characters I grew up loving. You're not going to need to do them for the audition. But if you want to show some of her SNL characters just to show that you can embody her, and I did them all.
I love it.
I did like 7 or 8 of them.
It feels like you went in and you were like, I mean, if you pick somebody besides me, you're just making a terrible mistake.
That was what I was going for, but also this wasn't the first time I felt that. I mean, I've tried out for parts where they were looking for a Jewish girl from Brooklyn who plays ukulele, and his grandparents are Holocaust survivors. Yeah, and I go in and they cast like a blonde girl who played Stacy in the Babysitters Club, who like couldn't be less Jewish. She's like the most shiksa, just the most Anglo gorgeous. And you're like, that's not a Jew from Europe, from Holocaust surviving descendants. That is not what that looks like.
Yeah, but doesn't look like Aryan Nation. For
no,
God's sakes.
I'm telling you, it doesn't.
Opposite. There's a whole thing.
100% does not look like Kaylee Cuoco. Like, who, by the way, is amazing. But like, sure, no, that's not for you. But so I'm telling you, I've been doing this a long enough time that I have gone out for things. I love that you added on, like, and the character's name was Jackie Bone. Like, it's true. Like, it's been that crazy. And I've been like, I've seen it come out on TV and been like, you perplexed. So the Gilda thing, I was like, okay, I mean, I basically was like challenging them to hire someone else and like, and not to be sad sack, but like it had happened every other time in my career, I obviously thought that's what was going to happen, that it wasn't going to be me.
It's so funny because I feel like I need a little bit of that because I'm so optimistic always. And like, I mean, somebody could send me an email about something and I'm like, here it comes. Here's my big break. And it's like, not even at the audition yet. Relax.
But I think there's a combo where I'm at now more, which is I would love to do, because I had a point where I would walk out of the room and be like, I didn't get it mentally.
Sure.
Because it was so painful to not get it all the time.
Yeah.
But now I'm in the happy medium of like, it's too heartbreaking to every single time build yourself up and really mentally, because, manifestation wise, right? You want to put yourself there. You want to sit there and think about it and visualize it. And I'm on the fence with how much I believe in all that, but I don't think it hurts to sit there and go, yeah, like this would be great. This feels good. Get some calm around this. I want this. I could see myself in it. But the more you do that, I think it's a challenging.
It is tough
because it's heartbreaking. Because if you get that excited every time you get a fucking email, are you not heartbroken every single day?
Luckily for me, I have a very short attention span. So like, I'll get really excited and I'll hit like a 10, and then by the end of the day, I've kind of forgotten about it. So I'll hit that spike, and that like there was something that I thought I was going to get recently, and I was so excited for a couple of days, and then I forgot about it. And then just like yesterday, I realized like, oh, I never heard back from that. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
Oh, that sucks. So it's enough time has passed that I don't have like the hard dip down emotionally, But like you're saying with the visualizing, it does. I'm also on the fence with that stuff because there's also like, I'm sure you just saw like Trayvon Free won an Oscar last weekend. And he tweets out this picture where he had written a Post-it note the day he started his script and was like, Oscar goes here on the shelf. And I'm like, that's incredible. Also, I can't, I'll get really excited, but I can't take that like physical step because then when a year later there's just dust sitting on that Post-it note, like I don't want the physical representation
it's hard.
Of it is something I can't handle.
I know. I mean, preaching to the choir, but it's like, but I think now I'm in this sort of happy medium space, at least, of I go on an audition. I acknowledge I do my best. I acknowledge that it's awesome and that I'd love to do it. And I'd love to be part of it and that I could add so much to it. And that's it. Right. And then you just let it go. And then if you get it, because that way you're not putting out negativity of like, well, because I used to say like, oh, I probably didn't get it. And then if I got it, I was like, oh my God, what a better trajectory to be like, I didn't get it. And then you get to go up and you did get it. As opposed to being like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I really want it. And then the heartbreak of not getting it.
Yeah.
So it's psychological. This business is so funny. David Litt, the guy who created King of Queens and created the show that I was fired from, he had nothing to do with my being fired. After I got fired, I had a meeting with him in his office and he was like, you're young enough. I know you've been in this business a long time. I mean, by agreeing to be in this business, it's emotional, it's psychological warfare. It's just, honestly, it's not.
Yeah.
I know it's wild. I mean, this is what it is. And the people that are running it in a lot of cases would otherwise be, not institutionalized. That's a little intense, but it's like these people that are just, eye on the prize. And like you were saying earlier about like the complete dehumanization. And then there's projects like Glow, which are just like kind of magical.
Can I tell you also, just like side note, I cried when I watched that pilot. Not to like sound corny, but I was like, it was so incredible to watch stories about women being women and not just like, them all, like anytime you see a group of women, it's all like, how do we all get laid? And that wasn't the central focus of the show. And I was like, this is so nice. Like the dynamics were so great. And it was just cool
and
to see those
real
stories.
and girlfriends and women of many sizes, shapes, colors, ages being represented authentically. And God, did they accomplish something with that show?
Yeah.
I miss it. It's my favorite thing ever. And so there are Glow gave me a lot of renewed fervor and hope and love and enchantment with making things and falling back in love with
I love that.
Scripts and people and actors and just being part of a thing. And it was really, really, really the far and away the most special thing I've ever been part of. And Betty Gilpin and I used to talk about it when we were on the show. We were like acutely aware that we never had anything like this before, and we very likely won't ever again. It's just it's lightning in a bottle. You can't.
I love it. Well, and
chills.
How cool that you got to be a part of that too,
dude. Please,
I love
after all the stories I just told you, it was like there was a true universal pull of just like, all right, you can have this one. But to answer your earlier question, circle back, was just that when I got Gilda, Allison Jones cast it, and her protege is Jen Houston, and Jen Houston cast Glow. So when I went in on the Glow audition a couple months after I did Gilda, I was like, dude, this is the best script I've ever read. Like, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Jackie. She came in from New York to cast. And I was like, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Jackie. She goes, oh, I know who you are. Allison sent me your Gilda tape. And I was like boots on the ground in New York because we were both like, we were making sure you got that job, and it was not easy.
Oh, I love that.
Because they wanted famous people for everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's so great that they fought for you too.
And like, they were like, this is your girl, and like, just stop it. So like, this is your, stop it. And so then Jen, I have such chills. When I came in for Glow, I introduced myself to her, and she was like, I know, get in here. Let's fucking party. And she was so cool and so easy and so gritty and just like talking to you. It wasn't just like, how do I perform the scene? It was her just being like, let's try it again and like, I read for all the different characters. We didn't even know at first who I was going to be right for. So anyway, to answer your question from an hour ago, how did Glow come about?
I love it.
That's how.
I love that so much. When you look back on stuff, was there something that felt either insignificant or bad at the time that ended up like pushing you in the right direction?
I mean, I don't know about pushing me in the right direction, but
or that
like,
ended up for the
like
better.
Getting fired. It's 150 things. Getting fired from regular Joe felt awful, but industry-wise, I guess like getting fired is very common, and it didn't matter. And then I ended up with like cool reps because I still was a person who booked a series, and that was a big deal. And then that show didn't even air. It was supposed to be for mid-season replacement, 6 episodes. It like aired one day, 1 week, and then another day and another time, another week, and then they just canned it completely.
Whoa.
So like,
it's crazy how
didn't
much
matter.
money is just thrown at stuff, and then people are like, "Well, I don't know. I threw 20 million at it and it didn't work." So
I mean,
well.
Quibi.
And it's like, what? Yes. I mean, but like, I think everyone but the people that came up with Quibi was like, "Oh, this is a disaster."
I feel like even the people that came up with it, but even the people who like made stuff for Quibi were like, cool, because everybody got their content back. So they were like, cool, Quibi's going to pay for me to do like a proof of concept for a show I'm going to try and sell somewhere else next year. Okay.
Yeah,
Tight.
no problem. I'm mad that I didn't bank on that myself.
Yeah, no, same. I was on a Quibi show, but I didn't personally bank. But yeah, so it was like, what was I saying before that? Glow, Quibi, all of it. Yeah, it's been a journey, man.
Your next upcoming thing then would be Do Re Mi, right?
Yes, man.
Are you so stoked?
Oh my God, I'm beyond. It was supposed to come out in May and then pandemic vibes, and now it's coming out in September, but whatever. Yeah, I'm cool with it. So Do Re Mi is an animated musical preschool series. With three birds, with three tiny birds, and the three birds live in Bebopsburg. Now, every episode, the three birds make music. I play Ray. She's a hummingbird. Why? Because me, I move pretty fast. So,
I love it.
And Kristen Bell plays. Yeah, we really came in hot with the sad stories up top, but we can end on a high with like,
I like it.
It's not going terribly. Also, I don't know what's next, but it's all cool. So Do Re Mi, my friend Mike Scharf and I created in 2014.
Christ.
Hi, is Lisa home? It's Jackie. I was trying to remind you that.
So long.
It's only, whatever, it's only 8 years, so 7 years, so who cares?
It's only a decade.
But it's only, I'm 70. So Mike and I created it in 2014. And then in like a year later, I brought it, like we had some songs and Mike had drawn some art. Kristen Bell was the only person I knew at the time who had a kid. She had like a baby daughter who was like 1 or 2. And I was like, does Lincoln like these songs and this art? She like loved Taylor Swift and Hamilton. And I was like, because we were trying to make a show with kids music that didn't want to make parents put the iPad in the microwave, just like real.
Just all of it.
I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
Baby sharky, gee. So we were like, okay. We were just trying to like make dope songs. My buddy Dave and I. So I showed it to her, and I didn't even have the business acumen at the time to be like, should you maybe produce this? Or, by the way, keep in mind, this is pre-Frozen. So Kristen's famous, but she's not who she is now. Like, she was on Veronica Mars kind of vibes, Like,
got it.
She was a movie star, but she wasn't, we're at it. She's at a different level, I think, now. Anyway, so I was just like, do you like, do the girls think this is cool? And she was like, do you need help with this? And I was like what? Like, sure. And she was like, well, if you like need, like, I would produce this with you. Like, I would make this show with you. And I was like, what? Yeah, I don't know what that means. I didn't have reps. I had nothing. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. I don't know what that looks like. So then her people started getting us pitches. And then we sold it to this company called Gaumont, which is a French, but now very international. They do like Narcos, F is for Family, monster company.
Awesome.
They came on board in 2016, I think. And then we brought it to Amazon in late 2017. We were in development with them for a year. Oof. And then late 2018, Amazon finally greenlit it. And we started doing the voicing and writing the scripts and doing everything in 2019. And now it's coming out September 2021.
Gosh, that's such a journey.
I
love
fucking
it. I'm
journey.
excited.
That's crazy.
So that's going to be on Netflix?
Amazon.
I don't know where I pulled Netflix from.
It's fine.
I think because you did other things on Netflix, I was like, well, obviously everything's on Netflix.
No, God bless. Listen, wherever.
That's awesome. What's the age range you're targeting?
I think it's like about approximately 2 to 5, like that.
Okay.
So
cool.
Just babies. And so basically, the premise of the show is these 3 birds live in their musical town, and they are trying to write a song, and they're not trying to, and they write a song every episode. And they sing it at the end of the episode. But the sounds and the pieces you hear over the course of the episode build the song at the end, right? Okay. So then by the time you hear it at the end, these little kids have heard sort of the makings and the pieces that put the song together. It was hard to explain in a pitch, but once they got it, they were like, oh, we get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like Stomp for children. Like one of the songs, like if you hear, like at the beginning of an episode, they'll hear like a saw and a hammer, and then later that will be the percussion of the song.
I love it. It's such a great way to get them to also use their imaginations. without being like, use your imagination, kid.
Well, because the second you say that, they shut down. Or the second you're like, you're learning. They're like, I'm not. Want to bet? Exactly. How much you want to bet I'm not learning? Like, oh, okay, you're defying it too. But they are. And so you have to be very sort of smart and tricky about how you're teaching children things, which I'm learning. And so I pitched that every episode be a different musical genre, which was hard, which was a challenging one because people were like, well, what's the through line? I'm like, hear me out. We'll have an opera episode, a pop episode, an 80s Whitney episode, a Queen episode, and we'll be teaching kids about every genre of music and musical instruments.
God, I love that so much.
And it's happening. And it's, honestly, I've been watching a lot of the edits because I do like score notes and sound effects notes. And it's the most gorgeous show I've ever seen in my entire life. I didn't draw it, so I can say that. It's unreal, man. It's unreal. I can't wait for the world to I cannot wait.
So when
for
is
everybody
September
to see.
What?
We don't know yet. So, but September 2021.
Okay,
like we'll have like rollout info and all that soon enough. But so exciting.
Look out for. I mean, look, I could learn from it. So
yeah,
I'm excited. One last question, Jackie. If you're, and this is tough because this is a tough question for you because you were acting at such a young age. But like, if your childhood self could meet you, like if 10, 11-year-old Jackie could meet adult Jackie, what do you think she would think?
I'm going through a lot right now, so the mere suggestion of childhood Jackie makes me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. At all. I don't think it's a bad cry at all, because 11-year-old Jackie is tight. This age Jackie is tight. I think she would be so stoked. I think she'd be really stoked that we did it.
Yeah.
It's funny because if you asked me this at 35, it would be such a different answer. Because it would be, I wouldn't have any of the things I have now. I wouldn't have the shows under my belt, the experience under my belt, the success under my belt, the validation under my belt. I would just have like the struggle and the laughs, because I always laugh, and the joy of the joy here and there of being in this business, and the tiny successes and occasional successes I encountered rather. But it wouldn't be the same.
It's so incredible how much can happen in such a little amount of time.
And how little can happen in such a huge amount of time. Because there was a long ass time where I was just trying the thing, man.
Yeah. I'm glad you stuck with it.
Oh,
I mean, not that you were ever going to jump ship, but it's so fun to watch you and stuff, because you should have been in stuff, more stuff sooner.
I was really never going to jump ship. It's wild. Like, it's like I was saying earlier, like that perseverance gets so congratulated once you've made it. But when you don't, it's like, do you ever consider maybe teaching jokes to children? Like, no, I didn't.
No, not at all.
No, I never have.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And for
my pleasure.
Thanks so much for listening. Once again, that was Jackie Tohn. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Jackie Tohn. It's Jackie Tohn. And I'm Lisa Curry. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa_Curry and on Instagram at olympianlisacurry. As usual, if you're enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe, leave a little comment, tell a friend, tell a coworker, hand out flyers, rent a billboard, just the little things. It really helps. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.